Hello, boys and girls. As you can see, we've got some weird issues with the video, which is nice. I know it's not nice, but it used to happen all the time. Now it's super rare, and I gotta give it to them. I think they're knocking out the problems in this thing, and good for them. Um, what's well, good for them helps me make a good broadcast. If I want a quality broadcast, the rest of that shit's on me. But yeah, it's still a little grimy. You really can't make out what's going on, but that's all right. Um, it's beta, right? I am your boy, Truest Armor. TRU people. TRU. There's no E. There should be an E, right? E is for excellence. My favorite word is Excelsior. Well, I'm off on a rant. My favorite word is Excelsior because it's a slogan of my home state, New York, right? But it's also what Stan Lee used to always yell out on the cartoons. So I'm a fan of that. Hey, William, good to see you. I hope you're having a good day. Uh, let's get into some of this stuff. So I was watching something. I don't really follow celebrities, but every now and then they say something stupid. So um, one of the women from The View, who's a stand-up comedian, who's not funny, right? She said stuff like I say stuff. When you're a stand-up comedian, people put a funny spin on the thing to get you to go, oh, that makes a point and that's funny. She doesn't do any of that. She just goes blah 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 blah, and I'm like, you're a comedian? What? So she went in sort of on Monica Lewinsky, who I blame, quite frankly. Um, Not for all of it, but I think like she's not an innocent victim in this. You follow your libido. I don't blame the mistress when you Deb, Joy Behar, exactly. I don't blame the mistress when you get divorced. Like you had something to do with it. Um, excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. So yeah, I don't blame the mistress when you get divorced, right? But she's not fully at fault, and I don't blame her a lot. On a scale of blame of 1 to 10, I guess, and 10 would be the person you just kind of like, that person must go away. They're horrible. To I think 3 and 4s are generally social shit. Five, excuse me. You may have to get the cops involved. Sweet Jesus, excuse me. I can feel it too. I've got something down the wrong pipe in my throat, man, but it's only off my throat. It's over here. It's over here on this side. Um, but Joy Behar was saying that it's her fault, and the victims are Hillary Clinton, the American people, and she didn't say it, but she sort of meant like she didn't blame Clinton at all. So he's not to blame, but there are two victims, and there's one bad guy, who that's Monica Lewinsky, which prompted me to ask all sorts of questions about modern feminism. A lot of you may be really young and may not remember this. I remember this well, but again, I blame her. I mean, come on, you're 23, you're not 15, you're an adult woman, and you're at work, right? Who does this shit at work? First, a lot of people do this crap at work. But when you get caught doing it at work, it's the alligator every now and then catching a caribou at the watering hole, right? So everybody's doing the same thing in that town, but not everybody will pay a price. And that's it. And I mean, you know what? Let's be clear. People talk about, like, there's a famous woman who dated I want to say Roosevelt when he was in his wheelchair. They have love letters. They would sneak her in when his wife was out. People, I mean, this has been going on for a while, right? I think maybe she probably heard those stories, maybe not her. But I mean, we know JFK. Everybody heard those stories, right? Marilyn sneaking Marilyn Monroe into the. So maybe she was like, oh well, he's not gonna leave his wife for me. But when I'm 50, I'll be able to tell you how I slept with the American president and woo hoo 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 hoo, right? But who thinks it's gonna go like in 50 years? I'll write a book and be interviewed about it. But no one thinks this shit's gonna go bad in 20 minutes as soon as you do it, because no one would do it. Wait, how much grace do I have on this cool thing that I'm about to do? Ooh, with all these supermodels and all this coke and all this weed as a congressman? oh man, wait till I retire and tell people this. It's gonna be my memoir. People gonna be crazy. That senator was a what? No, I don't have 25 years to this. What? What? I'm done in 10 days. Oh wow. What? But my wife and what? Oh, my kids who are in these private schools. In fact, I have to leave Congress now. Wait, what? First of all, let me just say that I am a good and kind and generous person, and I love my family, and I made a mistake. But then you have to blame. But I think I was led astray by, and it was a plot by, um, not the alt right. Well, it depends. If you're on the left, it's the alt right, right? And if you're on the right, it's freaking, what did they say with Clinton? It's a conspiracy. What did Hillary Clinton call it? It was something conspiracy. Uh, it wasn't a right wing conspiracy. It wasn't an alt right conspiracy. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. Uh, yeah. Here's the thing about Kamala Harris being on the View. Um, they're gonna they're gonna have Kamala Harris on the View. Uh, who are you talking to? Women already like Kamala. Well, not most women. She's low with women too, but liberal women like Kamala Harris. She's. I mean, you need to shore up your numbers. You're not going to do it by going to the people who already like you. You see what I'm saying? So this whole thing is a shit show and mass fuckery, in my opinion. Excuse my language. And I told you, I'm looking forward to the midterms next year in November because, God, I like streaming every day because I bitch about shit in real time. And when I did that on Facebook, people were like, "Oh, shut up, whatever." That's one of the reasons I left Facebook. But then when I turned out to be right, this I'm gonna actually now that I think, but I'm gonna have the same problem here. I couldn't go back there to a date and go, "Oh, on this date in my typing, I said this." But I'm gonna be able to go, you know what? I ranted and raved for about a month, somewhere around August on this topic. Let me go back there and see. But then everything's 2 hour and 3 hour shows. It's gonna be super impossible for me to find it. Um, but yeah, I think she needs to go and fight it out with the people who don't like her. Get on fucking Fox News and do three things. When he says some sideways shit, smack him around. Not lip physically, but like let him know you can fucking handle a hard conversation. Let him know you know what rhetoric is. And maybe somebody watching in their tinfoil cowboy hat will be like, huh, I did not think of her is feisty or right or blah blah. But I agree with her here, there, and here. And you may think that'll never happen, but the facts. Well, I was about to say the facts are the facts. Not all of them are crazy, but my point still remains. You have to go into the lion's den to get some of these votes. Like I'll tell you, she doesn't have good numbers with black men. Maybe she might want to take her ass down here to one of these barbershops and kick it with them. A real conversation, not well, we're going to be polite to you because you're here and with all the guards and cops, and we'll ask about jobs and like voting, like, but nobody's going to go, okay, you really want, do you, I mean, because if I was in there, they'd be like, you can ask me a serious question. I'd be like, a serious question? No, seriously, you can ask me a serious, I'd be like, really? All right, let's kick this shit off. And by the time 2 or 3 people do it, she's going to have to ask them 500 questions in a place like that. And that's a black barbershop where she doesn't have strong things. And I get why you may not want to. I mean, people are acting like you can't take her to Texas because she'll be attacked. Shut up. Are you talking to everybody or not? Are you trying to win everybody's votes or not? And this is what you get. You get people go, we're liberals. Like I'm from New York, and I have been outpriced and pushed out of that city by liberal Democrats, right? And when I raved about liberals being the same as conservatives 10 years ago on Facebook, uh, and just wanting black people's votes and not doing anything about the gentrification of New York or the cop violence. I've been raving about the cop violence for about 15 years. That's also on all these tweets and shit, all my social life, right? Even as I was a policeman, right? Did it then because the idea I can't fix the whole thing myself, and I'm never going to be police commissioner. I'm never going to be someone who can give confidential information to one of those people in charge how you might want to better this system, right? Stop listening to that guy. That guy is a fucking lobbyist essentially from gunmen and police unions and da 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 to make sure nothing changes. And then you go the extra, not just nothing changes, then you go the extra mile to indemnify all the nonsense that's going on, right? Those people have to go. But I mean, it is what it is, right? She wants those votes. She's got to go and talk to people who are not for her. What is this? This says an hour and okay. I'm sorry. I'm looking at this wrong. I thought this was my yeah. All right. So yeah, that's on that. As to Joy Behar, 1 minute you're a feminist, the next minute you're a feminist who's burning women down, who are absolutely the well, she's a victim. I don't know if she was a victim. I like again. I blame her. She's an adult woman, but I also give her. I don't want to say a pass, but I also have sympathy for her because she was a young woman, right? And young people think they're smart, but they get run and conned by older people all the time. None of these pop stars ever get a fair deal because people in business have been in the business for 50 years, learned all the dirty tricks, and you're new to arrive. And they make you sign these contracts where they own your product. Look at all black music. So I don't really blame her. I know she's young, but then the people who take advantage of her, my whole thing has always been get rid of the bad people. And we never get rid of the bad people. And we talked about this yesterday, William. The idea that one bad cop in our tribe can do a lot of damage. One cheesy, evil woman can do a lot of damage. You got to get rid of them. One burglar can do a lot of damage, right? One mugger, one robber, one arsonist, one of them, because they don't stop with the first thing they do. And that is the thing. And they keep running. So all these shifty politicians who don't stop with their first con, right, will end up owning. I mean, look at America it has become a shit show, I hate to say. I mean, people can't afford to buy houses. Now people can't afford to rent. Um, and all these giant companies are buying up all these houses. So there's going to be like a giant big rental. It's keeping, and they're talking about people don't want to work. No, here's the problem. People don't mind working at McDonald's as long as in 10 years they can own a McDonald's, right? But now what you've done is there is no advancement. So I want you to work in this tire shop place forever. You're never going to get a loan to open up your own tire shop, right? Or if you open a bakery and you work at some lady's fine, fantastic, fancy bakery, you're like, oh, I'm a good baker, and you get a job there. Well, you want to work for that woman's family for 50 years, even with if she gives you dental or what? No, you want to be able to, and that's it. Look, I'm nepotism. I'm only for if you start the company and hire your family. I totally get it. Uh, but nepotism in politics, no. Right? I'm not for that. And I'm not for entrenched poverty and enslavement. And the government allows it. America allows it. And then you look at all the people that we're in business with, right? The Saudis are a freaking shit show. The Britons have a horrible history. Horrible history, right? The British government is an example of we have powerful guns and know-how, but no morality. And now they get by via us. So the idea is your practices have become widespread and people have gotten used to them, but your practices are bad, right? And I'm not saying go over to anybody else's practices, but I mean, you almost killed off country. So then they had to do all this weird shit to stay a country. And then people become dictators and and we've put dictators in the Shah of Iran, right? We were for Pinochet in Argentina. So we were for the South Africans who were running a fucking slave ring, essentially. We're for the Israelis who are doing the same thing. So, I mean, what do we do here? People are talking, they tell you exactly who they are, and then we all go, yeah, well. Remember that woman? Now, y'all don't remember. She's a long time ago. Her son died in the first Iraq War, and they demonized the fuck out of her. Like she was some whack job nut bar. And then you go, who demonized her? And why was this possible? The arrogance of politicians and then the media who pushed it and made you buy in. I mean, like I said, we've been protesting in America for a very long time. I mean, the first Iraq Gulf War, people were marching. And if you want to go further back, people were marching we had the draft in the 60s. And what I think the problem is people take their eye off the ball, or they put in people who claim to be one thing and then turn out to be something else. So we've got our eye on you, AOC, with your bullshit dress at your $40,000 dinner parties, where no one is wearing a mask. Look, here's my thing. If I'm out here going, we don't talk pandemic here, but we just say the facts, and the facts are pandemics last a while. They told us when this whole thing kicked off, it was going to be gone by next summer, which was no. First they said the fall, and then they said next summer. But next summer, yeah. So it's always to kick the ball down the road to keep you semi-occupied while they stay in power, and run these wild ass cons on the stock market. There's enough money in America that everyone could have had health care, and they spend it on wars, and they put it in private hands, and then their kids go work for those companies. And it's all very and here's the magic. No one can take control of the place. So all the real kings are in Congress. Right? All the real kings are in Congress. And now there's a new bill to weaken the president more. They're going to weaken the office of the presidency a little more. We're not going to. We weren't going to talk about the office of the presidency, but I guess we're going to look that one thing up. Bill 2. And another thing, you're gonna you're gonna what is this DOJ shit? All right. Weekend. It should be weekend. Weekend. Yeah, fuck. Susan Collins won't support abortion rights bill. Britain said Ukraine reins in oligarchs Monday after botched hit. Ooh. Yeah, see, they've got a problem with their rich people too. Biden will raise the cap on refugee admissions to 125,000. Congress. How about Congress? Democrats quietly limit House GOP effort to press for probe. Susan Collins won't support abortion. Environmental group. The Biden administration will raise cap political play with Biden 3 big challenges. See, so now what you're going to do, you're going to talk about shit that's never going to happen. His 3 big challenges. Susan Collins. It becomes like a fucking reality show where nothing gets done. And you want to know what your ratings are. And it shouldn't be that. None of, should I say it? Very few of these people should fucking be in Congress. And no one should be in Congress for 30 years. Yeah. Everybody says one thing to get in there, and then they don't do anything. And so I looked up something today. Trump's polling in the GOP. Majority voters think Trump was a better president than Biden. Yeah, so far he was. Right? I mean, he kind of was. Your enemies wasn't shooting rockets at you. North Korea completely stopped shooting rockets at us, right? Iraq totally laid down. And as soon as he was gone, within a week, everybody was talking shit and firing rockets. Poll finds GOP support Trump, even though nearly half of Republicans want another candidate in 2024. That's half, though. It's not like 2% like him and 90. That's half. Now you've got an issue. And the thing I read said 54%. In polling more than 2,100 people between August 3rd and September 7th, it also depends on where you polled these people. If you polled them in Manhattan, you're going to get like 3%. If you polled them in Texas, you're going to get 99%. So where did you poll this place? You have to poll them in a place where there's equal parts each to kind of get a serious number. 63% of Republicans and Republican-leaning independents say they wanted Trump as leader of the Republican Party. 63%. with 37% disagreeing. That's 2-1. But the question of 2024 presidential race, only 51% said Republicans will have a better chance of winning. It's still over 50% winning the White House if Trump was running. 49% said another candidate would have been better. It's so tight. Trump's sweet Jesus, this motherfucker should be dead. Oh my God, these people are just not doing their bare minimum. They all got rich. They all got rich and let the bad. I guess with the idea that the bad guy's over there, he's not coming over here. And if he does, we have an army, and they'll attack a city. And I live in a giant compound in Kennebunkport or in fucking, Redwood, Washington, or one of these other places where you cannot drive through. Do you know that there are neighborhoods where you all gated, you cannot drive through it? Okay, but go fight that war, baby. Kamala. We didn't talk about the Kroger shooting in Tennessee. I didn't know there was a Kroger shooting in Tennessee. A lot of shootings, people. At this point, I think we can cut this off because it's not as warm as all that. When's sunset?
Sunset will be at 6:59 p.m. today.
What time is it?
It's 6:58 p.m.
Okay, I'm going to ask in about 30 seconds. I just want to know if she said sunset is now. That was weird as F. Tennessee Kroger grocery store shooting leaves 1 dead, multiple injured. All right. See, this is how you should report this. When is he on October 2018? Okay, 2 African Americans, a man and woman, were shot and killed by a gunman at a Kroger grocery store in Jeffersontown, Kentucky, suburb of Louisville. The suspect was Gregory A. Bush, age 51, a white man who exchanged gunfire with bystanders outside. All right, so that was 2 years ago. When is sunset?
Sunset tomorrow will be at 6:57 p.m.
Well, 3 minutes shyer. All right. I guess they don't tell us. All right, which one of these? Tennessee, another Tennessee. Look, man, you make these people hate other people so you can get elected in the small district that you're in Tennessee, right? And then you moderate your language when you hit the big show. You become a congressman and you talk to more people. But when you go home to these town hall meetings, is what they were called. We're trying to find the word for that a few days ago. When you go to your town hall meeting, you fall right back into it. The real problems we have is people walking across the border. That's serious. But all this, the cops can do anything you want because I don't want to. It just shows power bases, and America needs to start killing off some of these fiefdom bullshit power bases. Right? You one person, one chair to rule them all. Right? One person sits in a big chair. Everybody can't be ridiculous. And I'm of the mindset that if you're a congressman, like a congressman, a president, a governor, or a congressman or senator, like Cuomo, right? The president should be able to call a Senate trial on your behavior and get you out, right? But no one looks after any of these politicians. Once you're there, it's up to the people to remove you, but they rig the game so hard. Not only can you run it, it's almost impossible to run against them. But once they're there, they've got 1,000 dirty tricks that's been building up easily over the last 100 years, since about like Tammany Hall and all this stuff. How to get people to be on your side, even when you're the bad guy, for God's sakes. And at this point, everything teeters, right? So where you hit a breaking point with everything. And I think the corruption is hitting a breaking point. You told all these knuckleheads, nobody's racist, but the problems are the blacks and the women and the gays and the this and the that. You've got all these southern and middle of the country white people, white kids generally, right? Well, not all kids, but growing up in this fucked idea of they're the victims of some shit, and I can hurt you with a gun or a knife or whatever. I remember some guy walked into a grocery store at like 2 a.m. and just started murdering the workers and the people there. And the cops showed up at like 3 and eventually, but yeah, I just started shooting at people working there. Killed a bunch of people. And there's video of it because everybody has a store camera. Gunman. Oh, he got the death penalty. I don't know if he's still alive. I don't even know how to look this up. It happens so often. I don't even know. But I think it was 1997. Gunman shoots up supermarket. I want to say 1999. Yeah, June 3rd, 1999. Las Vegas. I mean, you just absorb so much evil just watching TV, and people get unhappy with the world and then they want to act out. But how do they act out, right? How do they act out? Shit they saw on TV. Every person who has a television set, if I got pissed off at the world, I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna teach the world a lesson. I am not gonna go get a knife and run around because I've seen enough TV to know that guns are the thing. Right? I've seen enough TV to know not just guns, but rifles are the thing. Right? Not shotguns because they take them. So I mean, you learn this shit from watching all this. Good lord, watching all this ridiculous depravity. And then I mean, like the guy goes to Las Vegas, rents a swanky hotel room, and just starts shooting indiscriminately people at a concert. And here's the sad thing about me. I'm sorry to say it, people, but when that happened, I was like, I'm glad it wasn't a rap concert. Right? I'm glad it wasn't. I'm glad it was a country western concert because then those people will have empathy for other countries. But if it was some dude who shot up a black rap concert, can you imagine? I just want to spare, and it's selfish, and I agree. I just want to spare myself from like 3 weeks of people saying the worst evil racist shit on the thing about how shit is deserved. You know what? It's just, and what do you do? I mean, what am I going to make a comment about white on white violence? You know, it's just the vileness of it is ridiculous. It's getting dark in here. Should we cut on the light? I think we should cut on the light. Let's dim this at the very min. Oh yeah. All right. So, oh wait, hold on. Who is that? All right. Let's look up the shooting. I mean, but man, I mean, why would you? What is the point of it? To show that you are what? Superior, tougher. You don't give. I don't get the point of it. Republicans say Biden avoided paying Medicare tax owe as much as what he himself owes that much. You know what? This is the kind of bitch bullshit that the Republican Party does. The Democrat has a lot of their own bitchy bullshit, but this is it. 500. I mean, okay, but if we're gonna do this, you need to call that out too for Republicans who do that, and they won't. It just shows the bitchiness of it, where you really need problem solved, and what they're doing is tit for tat nonsense, and they'll all stand together when they're threatened, right? Well, not even because some of them are standing in the way of the January 6th thing because if they cooperated, they'd lose their seat. So their concern is themselves, and your first concern being yourself is what gets you in trouble with sex with these interns and all this shit, right? If you were thinking about the country, you wouldn't go near all these women. And some of this is known as a honeypot, you idiot, right? Remember that guy who was dating the spy? No one goes to jail. Let's pop, 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 pop. All right. One person is dead, and at least a dozen others are wounded after shooting. And by the way, one person is dead is always a victim. The one person is dead and the shooter killed himself means okay, one person is dead and the shooter is also dead. It's not, oh, the one person is a shooter. He's never counted as the victim. And I had to read the story twice today because I was like, whoever wrote this, don't man, ugh. One person is dead and at least a dozen others are wounded after shooting incident at Kroger grocery store in Collierville, Tennessee, a suburb east of Memphis. Here's the thing: these shootings, these wild random shootings, we are all in the pool on that one. We all shop, right? We all go from point A to point. Road rage incidents with idiots with guns. Yeah, I think you might, if you cut off the wrong guy, all of a sudden you'll find yourself in some ridiculous scenario with somebody who has a gun and has no fucking common sense. Well, not common sense. Somebody might be crazy. Just you know, if we're going to be an aggressive nation, that's fine. Just point that shit outside. Uh, but we're a mindlessly violent nation, right? We kill each other here, and then we're always for someone else's war and oppression someplace else. While we're saying what a good person we are. Look, I have this flag back here. We're gonna read this. I have this flag back here, but a lot of racists mark with this flag too. What does the flag mean? We talked about this. Okay, so what should I take it down? What does it mean? Should I fly it upside down? What does it mean? Am I trying to resurrect it, save it? What does it mean that I have it and they have it? Right? All right, let's go. One person is dead and at least a dozen others are wounded after a shooting incident at Kroger grocery store in Collierville, Tennessee, a suburb east of Memphis, officials said. According to Collier, it's obviously named after some dude. Collierville Police Chief Dale Lane. Police Chief Dale Lane. I just realized, like in the South, the head cop guys are always chiefs. In major cities, they generally, well, other than LA, they're generally not known as chiefs. Officers received a call at 1:30 p.m. local time Thursday about an active shooter at the supermarket. Minutes later, police arrived, and Lane says officers went aisle by aisle inside the store to search for victims who may have been injured, finding some hiding in freezers and locked offices. The suspected shooter is dead from what police believe to be of what police is. The suspect shooter is dead from what police believe is a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Lane said during a news conference. Um, why would you quote self-inflicted gunshot wound? Okay. Lane said during a news conference, officials said at least 12 people were transported to local hospitals while one person walked in to a nearby hospital for treatment. He walked in. Good job. While the extent of the victim's injuries is not yet clear at this time, Lane said that some of the injuries were serious. Hold it. So where's the dead person other than the shooter? This is another thing I don't get. People stand outside. I mean, where's the perimeter? And these are the. I mean, you get. I mean, this country makes me crazy. This is a bad picture. And you get like a paragraph and a half and a bullshit picture, and you call that news. This is why we're sort of like all over the place. Um, yeah, I mean, but Biden owing $5 grand is so what? Here's the thing: once you get to a certain level in this country, no one fucks with you. Uh, and I maintain that nothing is going to happen with this British prince, right? He's going to be sued. Maybe they'll throw it out, which I think it'll likely be thrown out in American court, or he'll be found guilty and have to pay like $50 fine or some other bullshit. It's not a criminal anything. It's not a criminal anything. It's just embarrassing to him and his family. And it's an embarrassing international incident. And America fixes court cases all the time. So somewhere along the way, I mean, they threw it out once because there was an error in it. So they're super looking at it, right? And then they filed it perfectly. Then he wouldn't accept it. And then somebody was like, well, what is the fucking point? How you gonna, we have this thing, you have to accept it and we'll fix it down the line. There's a famous picture of Puffy being handed uh, not a summons. You've been served, kind of like thing, and he threw it away. And it's against the law to tear it, destroy it, because them. That's why. 1,000 laws, all the laws written are for you, the regular people, to stay in line, and there are none for them. The idea that a piece of paper can send you to jail gets more and more ridiculous when those pieces of paper are never served at them. Remember, the law is people enacting it. We all agree not to kill each other and beat up each other and steal from each other, but some people can do exactly that with no consequence whatsoever. Remember the judge who beat up that lawyer in court? I was like, what is the arrogance of that? And there was a bunch of people, and there's a camera. Why are you even a judge? People should look into everything you've ever done. You obviously are not intelligent, right? I mean, just the system is breaking under nonsense. I mean, once people stop having faith in it, you're really fucked. But I think more and more people are just kind of like, oh, fuck these people. And once you're, like I said, tipping points. Once you hit a tipping point of fuck these politicians, you're just asking for someone else to come through. Um, People know that the elections are sort of squirrely. So what happens when they stop believing in the elections, which I think they have, quite frankly? Uh, People say one thing and then the exact opposite for somebody else when it's the same exact case. So all these things, people are watching, are just going, why do I even bother? And then they're going to come up one day and go, hey, we got another water fight. And just like the 60s, everybody will be out in the street going, we're not fighting any more wars for you idiots. And then you'll be, who had issues like this? You'll be, well, not war. Holy fuck. What? Oh, this is due tomorrow. All right. I just caught but yeah, there was it's not a southern country. Well, actually, you can look to a lot of these Eastern Bloc countries in like the 80s that were falling under when communism went to where the dodo, and Russia just changed its name and just kept marching on, right? China was failing too. They just went to democracy and kept being a communist nation. So, what will we be? A democracy with no money? A democracy run by children of the rich? I mean, what are we going to be doing? Um, Biden owes 500. Do we even want to look at this? 500,000. Biden owes. Donors with deep Ukraine ties lent 500,000 to Biden's brother. Joe Biden tax code, his brother. Joe Biden's used tax code loophole Obama tried to plug. Well, yeah, that it's not illegal. They put it into the law so they could use this bullshit. Stop being surprised that people are using it. Yeah, from Russia, China. Yeah, look. I don't want to call anybody a traitor to their nation, but one, you'd have to have information, I guess. But I mean, you don't know what he said because he has influence. But why are our allies giving you money? Not our allies. Why are our enemies giving you money? And why am I not? Okay, why am I not allowed? I have an instant burning in there. Why am I not allowed to give you short shrift because you did it? Joe Biden's son Hunter made money from Russia, China, says Donald Trump. All right. Donald Trump says this. All right, give me a second. I got to check on this candle. Not candle, this incense. All right, everything's fine. When things go out, they hit the stem and then they burn like wood for a little bit and you smell something burning. You're like, what is that? Goodbye. So Donald Trump said this. Washington, Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden's son, candidate, how old is this? October 1st, 2020. This is before the election. Yeah, no one cared then, no one cares now. Is anything new? Follow up. Governor Murphy will not extend pandemic. He will not extend the pandemic? Okay. May 8, 2021. I'm a Black first generation Ivy League. They make it sound like everybody first generation. All right. Judge Ruth, South Carolina restaurant manager owes more than $500,000 to workers he enslaved. June 10, 2019. Some Texans told they owe $1,000 electric bills. IRS not adjusting tax returns for 10. IRS not adjusting tax returns for 10,200. March 11, 2021. This is all March stuff. How fresh is that story, man? Do we want to do Medicare taxes? Yeah, this doesn't sound like a new story. It's not. Biden loses ground with public on issues. Yeah, we looked this up yesterday. He's underwater. Biden huddles with Democrats as division threatens his agenda. Yeah, you want my vote, but you couldn't stop the cops from killing me. So yeah, I think I'm going to take a pass on Biden this time around. I set it out for Hillary. I'll sit it out this time. This is the thing. You want to retain power, but you can't do what the South did 100 years ago and march people at gunpoint to the polls. You do have to give people something. And it can't just, since I can't deliver something substantial, only thing I can deliver you is fear and panic and war. The Republicans are coming to get you, right? So you got to vote for me because I'll protect you, as I do nothing. For the first time, Biden job approval rating is more negative than positive. Negative is 53, positive is 44. September 23rd, 2021. Today is the 23rd. We looked up Kamala Harris's approval rating yesterday. Declining job rates for congressional leaders in both parties. Yes. They stay there not because they earned this position, but they've rigged this thing. Look, Nina Turner could have been a congresswoman, but the Democratic Party came down and put their finger on the scales. The Democratic Party. So it's a club at this point, and they don't give a fuck what you want. So you should get rid of all of them. And I dare say you should have no respect for any of them. Whew. All right, we're not even going to finish this. It has been raining here all day. I love a rainy day. Almost Eddie Moneyed it, right? Any of you guys know the reference? I love a rainy night. No. I'm old. Okay, no, that's fine. It's fine. Just give me a shawl and put me out on the veranda, face me at the sunset, and then go do your thing. Check on me every now and then to make sure I'm not carried off by bears. And if I launch into an old story, well, back in the day when I was a young man, just go, yeah, that's good. That's good, true. Yeah, all right. Here's some soda in a sippy cup for you. Oh, thank you. And then I just go back to rambling off about the stars or the wind or the rain or some political event of 30 years ago. And you guys can go get the party started. I'm yeah, see Eddie Rabbit. What did I say? Eddie Money? Ooh, my goodness. Yeah, oh my God. So you might be out here with me, William. Both of us are going to be sitting on the veranda while everybody else talks about whoever the latest pop Mendoza is or whatever. And that's another thing. Back in I guess was it Pop 40? I was about to say back in the day, they played a lot of stuff on the radio. That's why I know that song. But now I'm thinking as I drive around, there's Pop 40 stuff. That's why I know what's that girl who plays the guitar? Taylor Swift. That's why I know who Taylor Swift is, but I also know who all these rappers are, and I also know who Well, the Foo, I know who the Foo Fighters is because I had a grunge period, but that kind of stuff. We don't talk about the pandemic or boosters because I got banged twice by YouTube, who I believe is censoring shit. But that's just my personal belief. So we don't talk about that. But I will say this about the COVID booster. And that's all I have to say about it. Dem leaders try to unite and only get more tough questions. Yeah, how are you going to unite? You just stood against all these progressive Democratic leaders, Democratic, not leaders, Democratic candidates, and you shut them all down so nothing could change. Now you're talking about change? There's your problem. Let's good enough. Oh man, cloudy. You know what I might buy? I might buy a telescope. I'm thinking about shifting the show to midnight. I know, right? That will be 6 hours from now, and go. No, maybe not midnight. Maybe like nightly from 10 to about 2. And play video games and do shit. And well, the whole that was gonna all be moved over to Twitch. Um, Democratic leaders' effort to infuse momentum into a turbulent negotiation over President Joe Biden's social spending are falling flat so far with people. So the only people who get anything in America are corporations. Yeah, you. I mean, in a land of guns, I think they are really asking for trouble. They're about to put all these people on the street, right? Uh, the housing moratorium ended. You expect people to go back to dead end jobs with no future, right? You made it impossible to afford college. You made it impossible to pay your medical bills. The only people who are doing well are politicians, right? You're in bed with the media, and the media only wants to tell you who this celebrity or that celebrity is dating, or who this celebrity or that celebrity broke up with. And my whole position is, if that's your concern, you're an idiot, because things are way beyond that. You will wake up one day. I mean, look, if you had to run to a government agency and get help, you're not going to get help. You're going to get bureaucracy. Fill out this, go over there, fill out that, go over there. Wait 8 months. All right. Sometimes you need immediate help. You're never going to get it. Never going to get it. Let's do the exact title. Dems try for unity. You fucked me over. Why am I going to be? Ugh, it doesn't make any sense. I'm going to keep disrespecting with you, and then just keep telling you that it's going to get better. And then I'm going to disrespect you again. All the while, I'm insider trading and doing all this wild stuff, and people are just kind of like, yeah, no, I'm done. Completely over you. Because at this point, I'm not trying to leave you there. I'm trying to fuck you over too, because you screwed me over. Could you repeat that? I forgot what I said. It was probably some nonsense. Don't worry about it. Pelosi and her team. All right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if people can really believe this. Democratic leadership, the Democratic leaders' effort to infuse momentum. How can you infuse momentum? Momentum. Hold on, wait a minute. I'm about to say momentum is not an organic thing. All right, so how are you going to infuse momentum if it's not organic, right? I guess you can, but I don't think you can, right? With momentum into a political argument. I don't even know how you would do that. Democratic leaders' effort to infuse momentum into turbulent negotiations over President Biden's social spending plan are falling flat so far with key players at Capitol Hill. And the Congress hurdles toward a crucial week that could make or break Biden's agenda. Centrist, I don't even know what a centrist is, and progressive. I remember 5 years ago, everybody was a liberal. And then people got mad at the liberals, so they came up with new names so they could blame each other within the party. Centrist and progressive remained largely unmoved from their entrenched positions. Yeah. So at this point, if everybody's entrenched, it's war. It really is. Oh, about the pandemic? Oh no, what did I say about the pandemic? So yeah, I don't talk about the pandemic, but yeah. Um that leaves Speaker Nancy Pelosi days away from a vote on the 550 billion Senate passed infrastructure bill without a clear path to passage. When is this? This is the 23rd. This is today. I guess I'm mercurial, man. Sometimes you'll get it, sometimes you don't. All right, and as Congress hurdles toward a crucial week, what's the crucial week that I'm missing? Could make or break Biden's agenda. Centrist. Okay, first of all, what's going to make or break Biden's agenda? He's got the House and the Senate. Better do something now and stop crying about the Democrats. Stop crying about the Republicans won't let you. This is what Trump. Oh, good lord. This is what Bush. What? I'm I'm obviously flippy today. This is what Obama didn't do when he had the opportunity to do it. Uh, that leaves Speaker Nancy Pelosi days away from a vote on the 550 billion Senate passed infrastructure bill without a class passed an infrastructure bill. 550 billion. I thought the infrastructure bill was $3 trillion. Moderates are demanding that she hold the vote as promised, even as progressives are calling for a delay and vowing to tank the legislation as long as the negotiations on the much larger party line social spending bill remains outstanding. So they want you to do what they want to do. And then they want you to they want to tell you to go fuck yourself for the things that you want. This is the problem. You're witnessing democracy in full bloom. Oh yeah, put that spin on it. Democracy where nothing happens, but everybody collects a check. Everybody wants to be heard and acknowledged, said Rep. Louis Carrera, Democrat, California, who was optimistic. Fuck him if he's optimistic. Why? Tell me why you're optimistic. That had better be the next sentence. Who was optimistic the speaker could pull it off? Oh, you're optimistic that she can get. So your faith is in a person, not in any Nancy's a magician. Dude, what the fuck are you talking about? We all have TVs and radios. How is she a magician? Pelosi and her team hope that projecting progress in the talks, okay. So that you're just this is a word game endeavor, projecting progress in talks with both a framework of financial mechanism on projecting progress with a framework, quote unquote, of financing mechanisms announced. How are you going to do that? Why don't you just do it like they used to do and sell bonds? Thursday, and plans for the House Budget Committee to mark up the still unfinished package this week and will satisfy progressives enough to back up their threats. Here's the thing. Who wrote this bill? Who wrote this bill is what I want to know. Who wrote this bill? And how big is this bill and who read it? And that's, I mean, it's more nonsense. We take it one day at a time. It's all, see, this is the problem. It's all these like one-liners and slogans, or they try to lose you in the weeds with the sausage making of it. Well, have you ever? I used to watch C-SPAN all the time. I used to sit there. I used to roll me a J, and I used to watch C-SPAN, and I really enjoyed it. But for the first like 2 months, you're lost. But then you begin to get a hang of it, of what's going on here. And every day you get robbed by the same people who ask you for your vote. Pelosi told reporters, I'm confident we will pass both bills. Oh, really? Are you confident that they will pass both bills? When are these bills due? What else you supposed to say? But the leader's actions only serve to sow more confusion from many lawmakers, raising questions in all corners of the party about precisely who has signed off and what and for how much. Thank you. I just said this a couple of seconds ago. We don't know what they're talking about, said Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin is a piece of shit. Uh, He's in West Virginia. Why don't you just be a Republican? Told reporters of the purported framework. It sounds good if they're all working towards something and that's why he has power, because it's a one-shot lead, so it's 50-50. You need everybody to do their thing to move, and now he gets to be a dilettante. Right? If you have 50 people doing their own thing, you're going to have problems. I get that. So you want everybody to walk, maybe not in lockstep, but the idea that you can't hold together the Democratic Party and Joe Manchin is an obvious fucking problem. Uh, People should pay a price. He should pay a price for making 350 million Americans suffer. Told reporters on the purported framework. It sounds good if they're all working toward, if they're all, they are, like he's not, if they're all working towards something to present to us after all the conversations yesterday. I haven't seen it. Aide to Senator Kristen Sinema, Democrat, Arizona, another Republican. Uh, Another key part to any final deal, said of Schumer's announcement. Unclear what he's referring to. We have seen nothing, have not signed off on anything. Pelosi and Schumer actions underscore the sense of urgency among Biden and his allies to show some sign of life in the frenetic scramble to revive his legislative agenda. After little visible progress for presidents from the president's half day with key lawmakers. A half day, something tells me that went from like 10 to 2 and then he went to sleep. Half day. Why don't you mention that? I mean, they don't work 8 hours a day. So what is a half day? 3 hours? Even the net scrambled to revive his legislative agenda after little visible progress from the president's half-day summit with key lawmakers. Who are these key lawmakers? It's the let's look up who I just need to know who's the key lawmaker. Oh, hold on. I did do this twice. Biden cool Democratic fervor. Biden cools Democratic fever over domestic agenda, but can't cure it. He's such a shifty dude. Democrat Montana. Joe Manchin. He said he wasn't in the thing though. The memo. White House Communications Director Kate Bedingfield. Who is this? Communications Director. They used to call that propagandists. Go out there and tell them this. Now I'm communicating to you the position of the president, which I guess makes sense. But what is Jen Psaki there for? She's under the communications director, but shouldn't the communications director actually be doing it? Only about 20 of those House liberals have gone public with threats, led by CPC Chair Pramila Jayapal, Democrat, Washington, who attended Biden's second meeting with liberals, but that figure alone could be enough to tank the bill. Abandoning the $3.5 trillion Build Act. Abandoning the $3.5 trillion Build Back Better Act passes the infrastructure bill first would be in violation of that agreement. So what they want to do is they want to pass this $550 billion thing. Yeah, pass that now, and we'll get to this $3 trillion thing. And then they're just going to tell you to go fuck yourself on this $3 trillion thing. Why? Because this whole thing is really run by big business. And if you really want to start arresting people in Congress, you're also going to have to bleed into who gave them money, and that's corporates, right? I think the problem, I've said this before, China is run by the Communist Party and America is run by companies and corporations. Not increase taxes on families making $400,000 a year. You know how much money that is? That is super 1%. How about not increasing taxes on families making 60 grand a year? How about that? That would be 100 million people. And you take a bullet in the pants for it because you need that money. I'm for a flat rate. Everybody needs to sort of do the thing. Let's go back here. My glass is empty. I may have to fill that. And a arrest warrant has been issued for Brian Landry, who is accused of fraudulently using a debit card after his fiance's death. All right, yeah, okay. That's what you're gonna get him on. His girlfriend is missing, and he drove home without her. But get him on fraud. Man, crazy. Kurt Cobain. Tennessee. Yeah, people are missing all over the place. And some people get really depressed and kill themselves, right? I remember in New York, women kept jumping out of dorm rooms at NYU. Well, were they really women? They were young ladies, right? They were high school, just out of high school, 18 and 19-year-olds, because of stress, I'd say. I don't know. But I remember thinking, wow, they're so young. They were the best, right? Supposedly, like, either the best schools, right? And they were so freaking stupid young. Why would they be so stressed out to do some dark thing? And then look, if you're gonna do yourself in, how would you do it? You know what I'm saying? Would you jump out a window? Would you shoot? Would you take pills? Right? I think that says a lot about your personality. Some people do it like hang themselves outside their apartment, which has happened several times, and the neighborhood can see you. Uh, some people hide themselves in a closet, and you have to find them. I don't know, man. I think there's got to be a psychological reason why people do it the way they do it. Men normally shoot themselves; it's super permanent, and women normally. How do women normally come to? It's not as violent as what the men do. I think the women already take pills. Now it's in my head, and I have to look it up. Taliban officials warn other nations that no one will tell us what our laws should be. I'm telling you, you could have taken everybody out. I would still be dropping bombs on you. It's that kind of arrogance. Yeah. And I would seal you in. No one should trade with Afghanistan or anything. I mean, it's 2021. Who treats women like this? Right. And then you're going to trade with them. You're going to give them food and fuel and oil, which just emboldens their position. The first people to get in bed with them are the worst people. And that was China and Russia. We will acknowledge you. Just like we will acknowledge Syria, which is still on fire. Okay. David Foster hitting Ben Vereen. I do remember Ben Vereen being sent to a hospital for a car accident. Got past. He's been gone a while now. Ben Vereen car accident. Huh. First of all, who's David Foster? How did David Foster hit Ben Vereen? It was insane. I thought he was going to go to the hospital. As it turned out, Vereen had already suffered an accident earlier that day when his car hit a tree, causing him to bang his head on the roof of his car and suffer a stroke. That was why an out of sorts Vereen was wandering in the middle of a darkened PCH. Get the fuck out of here. Hold it. Ugh. How about here? Canadian musician. Well, apparently he's in it with some hot chickies, so you have it. Images. Yep. There you go. Young and rich. I guess his girlfriend is 12. Okay, knock yourself out. Um, so he was wandering. Ben Vereen hit by car, critically hurt. The New York Times. The entertainer Ben Vereen was critically injured early Tuesday when he was hit by a utility vehicle as he was walking along a dark stretch of road. Ben Vereen is not dead. 74. North Carolina. Actor, dancer, singer, voice actor, 65 to present. Okay. Vereen in 2007. Sexual harassment allegations. Everybody's got sexual harassment allegation now. Discography. Why is he famous? Why do I know Ben Vereen? I mean, he's been around forever, and I know he was a dancer, but why do I know him? I know why I know. I think he was just one of these famous dudes around growing up, and he would be around famous people that I knew, and they would do skits in Jesus Christ Superstar. Early life, Benjamin Augustus Middleton. He made his New York stage bow, Prodigal Son, television. Roots, maybe that's where I know him from. Roots. All right. What is this? I remember 10 Speed and Brown Shoe. Good Lord. Jeff Goldblum have been around forever. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it was TV. All right. Wow. Look up Foster's credits. All right, let's go to David Foster. Born in 1949 is a Canadian musician, composer, arranger, record producer, music executive who chaired Verve Records from 2012 to 2016. He had won 16 Grammy Awards for 47 nominations. The Best of Me, David Foster Symphony Session, River of Love, Recordings, Rechordings, Recordings, okay. Christmas album, Love Lights the World, 11 Words, collaborations. Chuck Berry, Riding Home, Bo Diddley, Skylark, Ringo Starr, Neil Sedaka, Kim Carnes, George Harrison, Nigel Olsen, Leonard Skinner, Wendy, he's a producer, I guess, George Harrison, Rod Stewart, Paul Anka, Dolly Parton, Glenn Campbell. Wow, these are some big people in 75. Ringo Starr 75, Sedaka 70. All right. And the hits keep coming. Nigel Olsen, Dolly Parton, Alice Cooper, Michael Jackson, Cheryl Lynn, Paul Anka. He's worked for some of these people several times. Denise Williams, let's hear it for the boy. Boss Skaggs, Aretha Franklin, Airplane, Al Jarreau, Peter Allen, Aretha Franklin again, Carol Bear Sager again, Al Jarreau, this is a lot. Okay, we're moving into the 80s. Earth, Wind, and Fire. For some of these are Chicago. Barbara Streisand. Okay, moving into the 90s. Aretha Franklin, Natalie Cole, Kenny Loggins, Peter Cetera, Celine Dion, Peabo Bryson. I know all these names. I've never bought any of their records. Michael Bublé, okay. Celine Dion, Michael Bublé, Josh Groban, Peterson, Bob Bublé again, Seal, Rod Stewart. All right, awards and nominations. Okay, where are these songs though? Where I mean, that's the albums. Where are the songs? Foster was a major contributor to Chicago career, and oh, really? I love Chicago. Chicago 17, the biggest selling multi-platinum album, Chicago 18, was tip of his producing project from the time period. Foster was a co-writer on songs such as the U.S. chart number one, Hard to Say I'm Sorry, Love Me Tomorrow, Stay the Night, Your Inspiration. You're the meaning of my life. You're the inspiration. You give meaning to my life, right? You're the inspiration. Yeah, these are good songs. He joined the backup band for Chuck Berry. In September, he moved to Los Angeles with his band Skylark. Toto, Urban Cowboy. Anybody remember that movie? Will You Love Me Tomorrow? No, that's not the same song I'm thinking about. Glory of Love, Stay the Night. The Heart of the Matter is a great song. And my thoughts seem to scatter. No, this is not the one I'm talking about. John Parr. I'm sorry. This is your fault, William. You got me down a rabbit hole on some of this stuff. Whitney Houston. I have nothing. Okay. Tears are not enough. Do they know it's Christmas? A great song. It's Christmas time. There's no need to be afraid because at Christmas time, we let in light and we banish shade. The chords, whatever happened to the chorus? Gotta travel with your three sisters. The guitarist never looked happy. Foster gave response for running the label, then managed Brian everyone the chord producer for that come to. Foster, along with Kenny Babyface Edmund, composed "The Power of Dreams," the first song 1980. Well, for Babyface was a killer in like the 80s. Summer Olympics, Diane Warren's song "Unbreak My Heart," pretty good. Tony Braxton, "Before You Loved Me," someone singing "Have You Ever." Because You Loved Me. That's the real. I'm not a great fan of Celine Dion, but that's a really fucking great song. I love a good love song, guy. Wow, he's just all right. He looks like an old rock star with that. Like everybody wears suits and no ties now. Asia's Got Talent. Clay Aiken has a son. Okay. All right. Okay. Clay Aiken is married to his sister. Wow. All right. Well, there you have it. Clay Aiken. We have been streaming for an hour and 15 minutes. Oh, we've got 2 minutes. So we've been streaming for an hour and 15 minutes. Yesterday was a doozy. It went 3 hours. Um, yeah, that ended about 9. So I'm thinking about moving this thing back an hour. I think what happens is people get home and then they kind of don't want to watch TV, but they might come on and check us out. Uh, and that would be better if it was like 7:30 to 9. But we've been doing 6 here for a while. We probably won't change it for at least a month or two. We're doing research. I'm not really feeling like ending this just yet, but I do want to get ice cubes. Uh, let's stop that. Go over here and get that running. See how much over we're over. Uh, All right. So what else we got? Um, do we still? I mean, I don't follow celebrities, so I don't know what to tell you. Music is lucrative, but it's not the music that made Rihanna Bernard. She sells you lipstick and all this other side shit too, and that put your name on a fragrance bottle to help people get So it's that kind of thing. He was walking down the highway after he had a car accident and hit a tree. He was just wandering in the road, and then another super rich famous person ran him over. I mean, that could just fuck with you. I don't understand this Ted Lasso thing. Haitian migrants pour out of the U.S. to Mexico. First of all, why are they allowed to travel to Mexico to get to this border? I don't understand this. Why are we as a country not going, Mexico, fix your shit? You know what I mean? I mean, no one deals with our problems in any real or serious way. No one seems to do it. So we talked about the police, yes, right? Look at this, New York Times. Their whole position is defund the police was a catchy slogan. It's also why policing bill fell apart. Really, your policing bill fell apart because of a slogan. Somebody got their feelings hurt by a slogan, so people can still continue to die. Do I have this right? People are not serious. You know, it's just fucking ridiculous. You want to hear another thing that I fucking hate? Let's see if I can find this story and put it up. Or if not, I can find something like it. Scientists accidentally discovered. Ugh. Scientists accidentally discovered hidden galaxies at the edge of time. What? 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 You found what at the edge of time? First of all, look, listen. NASA. I grew up, but all these tech companies seem to do is to tell you, "Oh, tomorrow something great is going to happen." They show you some artist rendering of a sketch, and then they shoot billions into space, and they don't do anything. It's been 50 years. Oh, look, we have a great telescope. Oh, look, we have a great this. Oh, look, we get to the moon, get to Mars, do that shit regularly, lose no people. That will show me advancement, quite frankly. Scientists accidentally, how'd you accidentally discover something at the edge of time? Uh, and then they'll tell you something that they found 200 billion light years away, and they'll tell you that now is which the light getting here now. When it left there, it was like the dinosaurs were roaming. So what are you talking about? So whatever you're talking about now is gone, right? Even if it's got here now, for all you know, there's people there. And by the time they look through this telescopes and see us, this period will be 10 million years ago. What is that with all these missing women? So, I mean, shooting stuff into space, ugh, it's this space race is not for us. It's them, but at the same time, we're like, why are we supposed to be so in love with the idea of it? Why is she missing? Why is she missing? News. I don't see anything. Is he trending? Nope. 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 Let's try missing. Says granddaughter is missing. Please for help 24 minutes ago. Granddaughter missing in Nevada. Please help find her. Phone source of the teenage granddaughter went missing. 59-year-old social media, word out, this is our granddaughter. Her name is Mylisa. Or is it Melissa? Good Lord. She was born in 2007. Good Lord. Oh, I've got laundry older than her. September 22nd at 7:50. So yesterday morning. So she's been missing for a day and a half. She was wearing all black at a time with a pair of white Jordans. Who wears all black in Vegas? It's hot as balls in Vegas. The whole thing is ridiculous. R. Kelly trial defense compares him to MLK. That's hysterical. All right. I like I said, I'm not dying on that hill for R. Kelly, but I would really like it if there was actual evidence. All we ever seem to do, and not all like if there were evidence, they'd be happy to show it to you. What a shitty piece of crap! Look at we found all these pictures on his computer, or blah 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 blah. But now you just got tons of women showing up, going, "This horrible thing happened to me. Take my word for it." Next, oh yes, hi. This horrible thing happened to me. Take my word for it. Like you saw this and you didn't say anything for 50 years, not 50 years, but like 25 years. Ugh, I don't know. All these reasons are why I think we got bigger problems than we know. I mean, you should not be allowed to walk into court and lie. I think a lot of these women are lying. What is your proof? I don't have any proof. Just take my word for it. If you looked into this and found somebody was lying, they still wouldn't go to jail. I don't know. Don't know, don't know, don't know. What else do we have but each other? Oh, good Lord. She was born in 2007. Good Lord. That can't be right. Right? She'd be 14. Well, I was thinking she was older, but yeah, 2007, Jesus Christmas. Every day there are more people born, and only the lucky get to get older, as my dad used to say. That's used to say, doesn't say it anymore. Uh, Only the lucky get to get older. I always remembered that when I was like, yeah, what's the alternative other than getting older? Woodson Terrace police sick police dog on black man already in custody. This is the kind of thing that you can't stop with your police bill. He's in custody. He's handcuffed. He's on the floor. Why would you sick a police dog on him? What am I soft on crime now? Because I think that's bullshit. Police in St. Louis suburbs sicked, that's SICCED, sicked their canine on a black man twice who was already in custody and didn't appear to be pose a threat. According to cell phone video, one of the incidents captured by a bystander, the dog bit the man as he lay on the ground screaming for around a minute in total. Help me, the man screamed as officers allowed the dog to bite down on his foot, then his leg. Less than a minute later, according to the video, the St. Louis County Prosecutor's Office will now investigate the arrest, although it's too early for further comment. The first thing they do is not comment. But you do something to a cop, they'll be out there. They no evidence. They'll be at the scene telling you what a piece of shit you. You know, if you're not going to comment, don't comment. But it's and that's the thing. It looks like a club, and it shouldn't be a club. Why are you having a police dog attack a guy in handcuffs lying on the ground? There's no excuse for it. We saw the video Monday morning. It's just about that everybody else was seeing it. He said, "You don't." But okay, all right. Just because you're seeing whatever doesn't mean you. You can see something and go, "What the fuck is that?" And as a cop, you can do what they can't. Do 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 do. Yeah, Bob, this is your sector. What's going on over there? And he'll be like, "I'm looking into it right now. I'm just seeing it that you're seeing it." And then he'll hang up and go, do 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 do. Yeah, police chief of that, command where this happened. Who is that guy? Oh, well, I'm on it now. We're looking through the records of who was in what sector yesterday and about that time. And then we're gonna blah 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 blah. And then he'll, but that's not the way anything ever works. So people just cook the books on it. So what likely happened is somebody called the everybody has the PR kind of the communications kind of like but they also likely called the what we used to call the IAB, right? Cops to investigate cops, so they can open an investigation. But now, more and more, because they used to just take the cops' word for it, more and more district attorney branches are who have the right to investigate are open up their own investigation. So now you're going to have dueling investigations of the police investigation as well as like the DA's investigation if they choose to bring charges. Yeah, so we'll see. They won't get a lot of time. They'll probably get an additional day because it's probably a hot story in the market that it is, and everyone else picks it up. Around 7 a.m. on Monday, the Woodson Terrace Police Department received a 911 call about a man who had trespassed into a nearby business and refused to leave. According to the police department, when police arrived, they found their suspect, identity has not yet been released to the public, walking toward another business in the area. Police said the man refused to comply with the officer's orders. See, that is a nebulous. What did you say to him that he didn't comply with? What's your name? I'm not giving you my name. That's non-compliance. What's your name? Can I ask you why you're stopping me? What's your name? But yeah, but why are you stopping me? Some people will call that non-compliance. You see what I'm saying? So they give you this loyally worded kind of like sentence, and you go, "Oh, well, he's not complying." Right? People would get arrested for resisting arrest until one judge finally asked, "You can't resist arrest without a previous charge." Arresting somebody for resisting arrest. Allegedly threatened to kill. Okay. Well, he instead claimed he was a sovereign citizen who didn't have to obey them, and allegedly threatened to kill them. Okay, I'm glad everybody's got cameras now. It's unclear if the man is affiliated with any specific sovereign citizen group, some of which have had their own run-ins with the police. Police say they blocked off First of all, sovereign citizens. Okay, all right. Police in St. Louis suburbs sick their canine on a black man twice. First off, sovereign citizens aren't black. It's a race group. He sounds crazy. But even if he is crazy, you don't get to kind of. All right, where was I? Chris Turner, the Vice News. He said Monday morning just about everybody else. Around 7 on Monday, the Woodson Terrace Police Department received a 911 call about a man who was trespassing in a nearby business and refused to leave. Right, okay. Next paragraph. Police say the man refused to comply with officers' order to stop walking. You don't have to stop walking. You don't have to engage the cops unless they want something from you. If they're curious, they can walk with you until they decide to put you their suspicions of you are enough to stop you and seriously question you. But you just run up to me going, "Hey, let me talk to you." I'm not. I got other shit to do to talk to cops. Unless you know something of me. You know? I mean, what is going on in this country? All right. He ordered to stop walking. He didn't have to bathe them and let it killing them all. It's unclear if the man was fully with any specific group. Police say they blocked off traffic before announcing that he was under arrest. Okay, you've decided to put him under arrest. So that makes sense. As the man allegedly resisted, refusing to put his arms behind his back, one of the officers warned that he'd bring the help of a canine if he continued to not comply. The man continued to resist. So because he didn't, man, somehow caused the man continued to resist, according to police, and in the fray somehow caused unspecified minor injuries to one of the three officers. That's bullshit. If the officer's got an injury, let me hear what it was. Unauthorized minor injury. I mean, unspecified minor injuries means what? What does that even mean? What does it mean? Don't get me wrong, the job is dangerous. But what is if it's a minor injury, why are you telling me about it? A broken finger is a major injury, by the way. What's the minor injury? Did you pull something? What's the minor injury? This is it. This is not a good. Who wrote this? Tron Dow. Trone. Tron. Okay. Somehow caused unspecified minor injuries to one of three officers. That's when someone nearby began to record the incident as it unfolded. Nearly 5-minute video, which has received over 76,000 views since being uploaded to Facebook Monday morning, began with a black man leaning out of a police car with two officers behind him, seemingly in control of the situation. Black man leaning on a police car. So they had him handcuffed. He's leaning on a police car with two officers right behind him. So he's leaning. You got two cops behind him, right? A third officer with the canine on a leash, inches closer to the black suspect before, for the first 30 seconds of the video before finally releasing the dog, who attacks the man's right foot. I know he can't do that, someone says off camera as the man screams for help. Yeah, this sounds like you're going to jail. While the dog continues to tug at the man. So he wasn't doing anything. He was leaning against the car in handcuffs with the cops behind him. Okay. They weren't tussling with him or anything. They were just standing behind him. And then you inch closer, and he's describing the video now. He's not describing what the brass of the police department told him. He inches closer, and then he lets this dog off on the guy. Sick the dog on the man's leg. With the dog continuing to tug at the man's leg for another 30 seconds, two of the officers tackle him to the ground. When the dog finally releases the man, stands up and tries to move away, which prompts the officer once again sick the dog on the man's leg. Nearly another 30 seconds pass before the dog lets go again and the suspect is placed. Oh, he wasn't in handcuffs. I'm confused now. I'm fucking confused now. The suspect is placed in handcuffs. When the officer brings the man to his feet, he just barely hobbles to the back of the nearby police vehicle. You've contradicted yourself. You say he was attacked on the ground, and all right, we got to go back to the top of this. I'm sorry. Police in St. Louis suburbs sicked the canine on a black man twice who was already in custody. Maybe look, you're not in custody until you're in handcuffs. Actually, that's not true. You're in custody with a word. Turning around, you're under arrest means you're in custody. Even if you run away and I have to catch you, you're in custody at the moment. Okay, all right. I see what I did. I thought custody meant handcuffs. He didn't appear to pose a threat, according to cell phone video. Okay. Captured by bystander, the dog bit the man as he lay on the ground screaming for around a minute in total. But see, you say he was lying on the ground. Then the last chapter, you say he was leaning on the car when the guy sicked the dog on him. It's not me, right? I'm not crazy. All right. The dog bit the man as he lay on the ground screaming for a minute. Help me, the man screamed as officers allowed the dog to bite down on his foot. Then his leg less than a minute later. Okay. Now let's go down here. The man confronted visitor. The man, can we do that? Okay, so here we are. The black man leaning on a police car with two officers right behind him. So this implies if he's leaning on the police car and the officers are right behind him, it implies that he is sandwiched between the cops and the police car. So if the officers are right, if this is the police car and I'm leaning on it, right? Let's go over here. If this is the police car, if this table is a police car and I'm leaning on it and the cops are right behind me, then the cops are on the other side of the police car. However, if I'm here and I'm leaning on the police car and the cops are, and this is the hood, the cops are right behind me, right? Then this makes sense. So she says, black man leaning on a police car with two officers right behind him, seemingly in control of the situation, right? A third officer with a canine on the leash. So he's standing up, she's saying. He's saying, canine on the leash inches closer to the black suspect for 30 seconds of the video before finally releasing the dog to attack the man's right foot. Someone says, I know you can't do that off camera as the man screams for help. While the dog continues at the man's leg for another 30 seconds, two of the officers who were behind him tackle him to the ground. When the dog finally releases, the man stands up and tries to move away, which prompts the officer again to stick the dog on the man's leg. Nearly another 30 seconds passed, so he got up. Nearly another 30 seconds passed before the dog lets go again. Hold on, wait. So they tackle him to the ground and then they let him up? Did they tackle him to the ground, put handcuffs on him? Or did he just tackle him while he was being bitten? The dog let go and then they let go and then he stands up. This whole thing sounds, I may have to look at this video because this sounds weird. This sounds bizarre to me. Nearly 30 seconds passed before the dog lets go again and the suspect is placed in handcuffs. When officers bring the man to his feet, he just barely hobbles to the back of an unmarked police vehicle. After the subject was arrested, the officer found subjected methamphetamine on the subject, which will explain why the officers were unable to restrain the subject. The police department said in their public statement. This has nothing to do with drugs. This has everything. Okay. The subject was released pending application of warrant. So they know this is fucked up. So they let him go. They released him essentially under his own recognizance because they may have to drop the charge. Look, what they do to you should not be bigger than the thing you did. That's what this is about. So if you're jaywalking, I shouldn't be able to shoot you. You see what I'm saying? The Worcester Territory Police Department did not immediately respond to multiple requests for it. Don't you have a person to deal with the media? However, Chief of Police Randy, because you can't dodge it forever, other shit is going on that you have to go out of the police department and talk about this robbery or this fire or this or this new traffic initiative. Somebody's going to ask you about it, so you have to say something. The Woodson Terrace Police Department did not immediately respond to multiple requests for a comment. However, Chief of Police Randy Halstead told local affiliates KTVI that he wishes the officers had been wearing police body cameras at the time to give a more complete picture of what happened during their arrest. The department received approval to purchase body cameras earlier this year, but they're slow rolling, but has not yet received them. These police departments are not 500, 700 people. They're generally groups of 50. No, I never lost somebody. I had to chase people to get them in cuffs, though. But yeah, you can't have that. That's a prison escape. That's a bad one. And you can get freaking cuff keys every place. In the movie, someone always has to go get a crowbar, not a crowbar, or a bolt cutter or something. Everybody and their mother knows where they can buy a fucking handcuff key, especially down here in Virginia, where there's gun shops all over the place. I mean, you may not be able to walk in with handcuffs on, or you may be like, my wife locked and I lost the key. Maybe they'll buy that, but I think first they might think that there's something shady with you. The Western Police. I wish you had body cameras so we can get a more complete picture. The picture is fairly fucking complete. The department received approved the police canine attack caused more hospital visits than any other use of force by the police, according to a 2020 investigation by the Marshall Project. And Monday arrest is the latest example of violent police encounters involving them. Over the summer, Vice News reported at least 4 of these incidents, 2 of which involved minors and another that involved a pregnant woman. You sicked a dog on a pregnant woman? You know, there's 3 of you. You're supposed to be able to put somebody on the ground without a dog who doesn't have a gun or a weapon. There are 3 of you. It's called manpower. That's the shit I don't get. The brutality involved in these incidents is one of the reasons why experts say it's probably time to do away with that particular method. And I'd agree with that. If you've got all this tech shit, why are you still sticking dogs on people? Outrageous. Biden wants to keep working on police reform. Biden wants to keep working on police reform bill, but willing to take executive action. Here's your problem with your bullshit executive action. As soon as you're gone, it goes away. So he needs to do something to keep the black vote in the Democratic Party. And we talked about this yesterday. He's going to do something. He's not going to do shit. Excuse my language, but man, it pisses me off because someone's going to die and he's not doing anything about it. But fucking getting up at 11 and then holding 2 in the afternoon press conferences and then disappearing. Do you ever meet Sir Pick? You mean Serpico? Who's Sir Pick? Serpico left the police department, I think, around 1978, and then he moved to France. There was a lot of mob cops that nobody wants to talk about. Yeah, we can look up Serpico. Right, there should be a statue of him outside the New York City Police Department. What was his first name? Frank, right? Let's say John Frank Serpico. United States, Italy. The Paco Serpico whistleblower on the police corruption and subsequent shooting. Served from 59 to 72. He's a lecturer. All right. June, Serpico left both the NYPD and the U.S. to move to Europe. 73, he lived a woman named Marianne, a native of Netherlands, whom he wed in a spiritual marriage. Okay. She died from cancer in 1980. That's horrible. He decided to return to the United States afterwards. So he was gone for 8 years. His only child, son, Alexander, out of wedlock, out of wedlock. That's a very 60s thing. Hippies called them love children. There's a song about it. Love child, never meant to be. Love child, born in poverty, right? There's a song about it. I like the term love child better than out of wedlock. Wedlock. I'm sorry. After going to a tribunal to contest child support payments to the mother, who Serpico had claimed told him she was on contraceptive pill, an allegation she denied, but her friends testified against her. The tribunal ruled he had to pay around $900 per month. Alexander died of suspected drug overdose on May 12, 2021 at the age of 41. On June 27, the USA section of ANPS, National Association of Italian State Police, assigned him the St. Michael's Archangel Prize, an official award by the Italian State Police, with the sponsorship of the Italian Ministry of the Interior. Francesco Serpico is now an Italian citizen. During the same ceremony, he received his first Italian passport after extended research by the president. Oh, that's pretty cool. Allowing him to gain Italian. Oh, that's pretty cool. It's very Jewish though, right? Like once you're Jewish, you're always like you can always go to Israel or some shit like that. Uh that's why people keep killing people here and then flying over there. But we looked up one of those guys, right, who got totally ridiculous. Okay, that's the person. As a result of Serpico's efforts, the NYPD was drastically changed. Really? Michael Armstrong, who was counsel to the Knapp Commission and went on to become chairman of the city's commission to combat police corruption, observed in 2012 the attitude throughout the department seemed fundamentally hostile to the kind of systematic graft that had been a way of life for almost 40 years. That should be a lot longer than 4 years. Also, in the late 1970s and early 1980s, vice laws were generally not enforced to prevent police corruption. Consequently, bookmakers and drug dealers often operated openly out of storefronts, while prostitutes openly advertised and often applied their wares in various red light districts. So they stopped doing this because the cops would take the money and fuck the girls and do. So they were like, let's just stay away from that instead of firing those cops. Yeah, the NYPD has all sorts of problems, but they didn't get rid of the bad guys. You know what it's like? It's like being hazed, right? You go to the college and go, stop hazing people. And then those people go, man, I was hazed and I was fine with it. I'm gonna haze these people anyway, right? And then you keep this kind of nonsense in the system. He's got a bullet fragment lodged in his brain. In Project Murph, the police department harassed him with hourly bed checks. He later testified before NAPCA. So the police department harassed him with hourly bed checks. They would go into his hospital bedroom and wake him every hour just to go fuck you. After they shot him in the face, Serpico was then shot in the face by the suspect with a 22 uh, pistol. The bullet struck just below the eye, lodging at the top of his jaw. He fired back, striking his assailant, fell to the floor and began bleeding profusely. His police colleagues refused to make a 1013 dispatch to police headquarters, indicating that an officer had been shot. An elderly man who lived in the next apartment called the emergency services, reporting that the man had been shot and stayed with Serpico when police car arrived, aware that Serpico was a fellow officer. They transported him in the patrol car to Greenpoint Hospital. The bullet had several. Okay, so what happened to the guys? The bullet had seven. The police arrested 3 young people. Found one had 2 bags of heroin. Suspect and Run told several who spoke Spanish to make a fake purchase to attempt to get the drug dealer to open the door. The police went to Serpico spoke Spanish. The police went to the third floor landing. Serpico knocked on the door, keeping his hands on the revolver. The door opened a few inches, just far enough to wedge his body, and Serpico called for help, but his fellow officers ignored him. All right. The bullet had the circumstance surrounding Serpico's shooting quickly came into question. Serpico, who was armed during the drug raid, had been shot only after briefly turning away from the suspect when he realized that the 2 officers who had accompanied him at the scene were not following him into the apartment, raising the question whether Serpico had actually been brought to the apartment by his colleagues to be murdered. There was no formal investigation. Edgar Ecavera, who had shot Serpico, would subsequently be convicted of attempted murder. And on May 3rd, 1971, New York Metro Magazine published an article, Portrait of an Honest Cop, about him. A week before he testified at the Department of Travel, NYPD lieutenant accused of taking bribes from gamblers. Period. Okay. On October, and before the Knapp Commission. Through my appearance here today, I hope that police officers in the future will not experience the same frustration and anxiety that I was subjected to. For the past 5 years that I handled my superiors because of my attempts to report corruption, I was made to feel that I had burdened them with an unwanted task. The problem is that atmosphere does not yet exist in which an honest police officer can act without fear of ridicule or reprisal from fellow officers. That's still true. Police corruption cannot exist unless it is at least tolerated. At higher levels in the department, therefore, the most important result that can come from these hearings is a conviction by police officers that the department will change. In order to ensure this, an independent, permanent investigative body dealing with corruption like this commission is essential. Serpico was the first police officer in the history of the New York City Police Department to step forward to report, subsequently testify openly about widespread systematic corruption, payoffs amounting to millions of dollars. Yeah, but what happened to his partners? This is what I want to know. This is the picture you used? This is a horrible picture of him. Oh my God. This is the picture? You can, this is a horrible picture. You can tell nothing from this picture, 2013. All right. Um, let's look up the Serpico case. Serpico IMD, Serpico police officer, Serpico berserk. What does that even mean? Serpico. Serpico police informed we have the virus. We have this virus among us. Police see themselves as judge, jury, and executioner. That gets out to bringing the borough on ex-cop Serpico. Huh. I can't find anything about it. I don't think unless I start news. How old is this news? 2021. This is on new shits. His son died, so that's front page news. That's just really just sad, actually. Died of a drug overdose. Yeah. All right. Well, we're not gonna dig too deep. But I would want to know. I'm curious as to what happened to his partners. He looked around. His partners weren't behind him. Huh. Serpico called for help, but his fellow officers ignored him. Okay. Where's this? 9? September 10, 2012. All right. The New York City cop, 11:07 p.m. It's all alive. February 3, 71, 10:42 p.m. Oh, this looks like a running count. I used to have one of these for 9/11. I had a printout of it. It was like this thick. I got rid of it. Did I get rid of it? Might be my chest. One of my other fucking cop shit. The New York City cop leader in front of the radio car screen up in Metropolitan in Brooklyn. He steadies the limp, bleeding body in the back. It's about 25 minutes. The blood is black, jellied in the center, dried on the edges. It coats his beard, face, arm. He fatigue jacket. Still the man. Okay. He's still awake. He said, stay awake, stay awake. He tells me, keep your eyes open. Just keep your eyes open. The cop in the front seat. All right. So this is them driving him to the 78 Dig Street, Brooklyn apartment 3G. The emergency dispatcher gets a 1010 call from a civilian. Investigate shots fired. It seems like a pretty routine heroin bust. 4 cops from Brooklyn North get a tip that a drug deal is going down. So 3 officers, Gary Rotman, Arthur Cesar, and Paul Haley. Let's look up these names. Because let's look them up in a clutch so they don't come up to like fucking movie stars or some shit. The Narco Serpico after Fateful Day, Real Clear History. Frank Serpico. Am I not in frame? I'm sorry. Yeah. New York censored history. This cop's near death. See, I don't want the movie. I don't want the movie. There's got to be a billion Paul Haley's and a million Arthur Caesars, but maybe just a handful of Gary Rotmans the narcotics team consisted of. Let's see what we got. Yeah, no, we're not going to Twitter. Good Lord, another paragraph. All right. Short and sweet. The New York City cop leans over the front seat. The radar car screams, Met Prime, the brother he says is Lynn. Yeah, we just read this on something else. It's all a lie. The blood thickens his nose and throat. He's suffocating. He's so tired. Stay awake, he tells him. Yeah, it's the same fucking story. Yeah, you're not going to find out what happened to him, which is weird, I think. All right, okay. So, we've been streaming for an hour and 57 minutes. Let's about leave it here. Yeah, Serpico is one of those dudes. He should have a statue, right? Yeah, all right. Let's give that a let's give that a stop. All right. Please like and subscribe if you liked any of this craziness that we look up we go down rabbit holes. We're here every day from 6:30. I could move this back. It used to be at 7:30. Are we going to move this thing to 7:30? Good, sweet Jeebus. All right. We're here every day, 6:30, Monday through Saturday. And Sundays, we're here at 7:30 a.m., which we were also thinking about changing to 10. 7:30 a.m. Please like and subscribe. True Armor here, Truest Armor on YouTube, and Karma Armor on Twitch. Yeah, come get some. We make sure that we are informed, and that's important. Your time is valuable. I appreciate it. I know you could be anywhere, but you spent a couple of minutes with me, and I appreciate that. I will see you guys tomorrow at 6:30. That's the next one. And tomorrow is Friday. Do I even have a number up Friday? Have a good night, William. Do I even have a thing up Friday? I hope I do. I don't think I do. If not, I'll put it up today. But yeah, so we have been streaming for an hour, an hour and 59 minutes, and we'll make it an even 2 hours in the next 30 seconds. Let's close this. Remember, you only go around once, so kind of try and get some fun in. Try not to waste these weekends, right? Pick up a hobby, I don't know, watch the movie that you let by to go to hang out with the kids or whatever. The weekends are for you. Don't just think that I get to not work for like XYZ. I mean, that means that work is in your head. Think about your fam, your life, your deal, and make sure that you get some fun in there for you. All right. I guess that's it for us. We will be back tomorrow to talk about all of it. Peace.